Hello, welcome to the Redmen TV. It's LFC News Daily. We're going to try and do it inside 10 minutes. Have you got the bell?
I do.
He does, but he doesn't because he's got up out of his chair to find it. He's got it now, though. Don't worry, people. We're all right. Going to get straight into it. First news story I want to talk to you about, Aubrey, is Piotr Zielinski. Looks like the deal could be alive again, even though it wasn't officially dead, I suppose. Yeah. It was probably a month ago now when we heard it was going to be signed up inside a week. Then there was all the, it's going to be after the Euros. The Euros is finished. No one mentioned Zielinski since the Euros is finished. Gazzetta dello Sport, journalist, obviously the Italian paper, Emanuele Giuliani, has claimed that manager Jurgen Klopp has been in contact with Zielinski to keep the deal alive. We've had a couple of pre-season games now. We've seen what our young attacking options look like. We know what we've got to come back from holidays. Do you think that's true? What Emmanuel's saying? Do you think we are still after Zielinski, or do you think we're full up of attacking midfielders and midfielders right now?
I think we want him because we wouldn't have bid for him if we didn't want him, and we did bid for him. Like as far as again,
we have signed Mane since though. So there is the question to say we've actually signed someone else.
I don't think that's the same position. It could possibly be the same position. I don't think that's the same slot on the purchasing list, if that makes sense. As far as I was aware, you can never really tell, can you? Because there's so many contradicting stories, and agents are going to paint themselves in the same light. Whereas they accepted an 11.2, was it, or 11.4 million bid from Udine?
Yeah.
And no, so from Napoli, was it?
Napoli.
Napoli. And they wanted more money from us because they knew he wasn't going to join Napoli, and they're just trying to milk us for as much money as they can get from us, and we were playing hardball on it, which is true. But that indicates to me that that's a player Klopp wants. And as a Liverpool fan, especially this summer, I just want Klopp to get everything he wants. I want him to have all the tools he can, and we're not talking an awful lot of money here. You know, it's not like £100 million for Pogba. You know, if he wants Zielinski, if he's earmarked him to be really, really good. Like, I was disappointed that he didn't play as much for Poland in the Euros.
Yeah, because
we could have got an idea of getting to see him. But, you know, Klopp's got to...
Here's a question for you on that then, just before you carry on. Is seeing a player on the international stage, does that give you a true reflection of what they look like?
It gives you better reflection than having seen a YouTube compilation, which is the best I've seen of him so far. But no, the Premiership. Look how bad England are and have been for the last 10 years, 20 years.
I'm thinking of the Umpa that plays for Stoke and what he did, Shaqiri, and what he did in the World Cup.
Oh yeah, but I think Shaqiri's a good footballer.
He is, but in the World Cup he looked as good as Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah.
And then you put them in the same league and you're like, whoa, nowhere near. Like...
And then, again, not even the Euros, but Brian, the World Cup again as an example. Brian Ruiz, who was at Fulham, he looked like a world beater in his 4 games for Costa Rica. You know, it can skewer it. There are certain countries that play above the station and they get much more pride for playing, and they really, really, really try in those 3 or 4 games. Also, the game's just so much slower internationally. So I don't think it's a massive reflection of... how a player would adapt to the Premiership, but I think you can gauge quality. You know what I mean? I don't think we're going to go out there. We're not going to go out there and buy any of the Icelandic players because they were massively punching above their weight, and they looked well drilled and they looked well organised, but they didn't look massively skillful.
Like they could take the step up into the Premier League or whatever.
Whereas if we'd have seen a Zielinski, maybe we'd have seen a moment from him that looked great.
That you could go, actually, we could see more of that in Liverpool.
Okay, well, Kimmich as an example.
I'm just going to move on, Aubrey. This, obviously, the story has developed a little bit. Gianluca Di Marzio, who was a Sky Italy expert, or Sky's resident Italian football expert, saying AC Milan are in pole position to land the centre midfielder, agreeing a £16 million fee with Udinese earlier in the week. Apparently the Poland international player was ready to begin talks over personal terms with AC. So it looks like if that's correct, and if Emanuele Giuliani is correct, I suppose we can draw the conclusion that Liverpool are going to have to bid 16 million now for him.
Yeah. Pay market value. Ultimately, it all comes down to what Klopp wants. Does Klopp want him? We've sold a lot of players this summer, and we're about to sell a few more. We're bringing in revenue. Again, it's not jumped up from 11 to 40. It's gone from 11 to 16. That's just adding the Canos money on top of what we were going to pay. Yeah. If Klopp really, really wants him at that price, give Klopp him. If he doesn't, if he thinks he can spend 16 million elsewhere and get better, or 18 million or 20 million, then let him go shop in that market.
You know what I think's really encouraging about this is that a team is willing to pay £16 million for him, and Liverpool were playing hardball over 11, which says to me that Liverpool know that there's a player in there. If AC Milan have seen that player play week in, week out in the Italian League, and they're willing to pay 16 million, then he's a good player, basically. We're going to move on because we've probably spent 5 minutes on this already. Going to Christian Benteke next. Just want to do a little bit on this, Aubrey. Apparently he's now willing to stay and fight for his place at Liverpool. Obviously, we're still dicking around about a couple of £1 million with Crystal Palace. We want to recoup the 32.5 million that we've paid for him. He wants to stay. Good, bad, arsed, not arsed.
Yeah, it's bad, isn't it? He's not going to play. I don't think we can afford to have, as a Liverpool Football Club, we can't afford to have our fourth choice striker be a £32 million player, £32 million asset on 140 grand a week. Is he on at Liverpool?
That's what it was rumoured
to be. That's far too much for your fourth choice striker, unless your first, second, and third are Suarez, Neymar, and Messi. You know what I mean? So we're not in that position. If he's behind Danny Ings and Origi in the pecking order, which he is, he shouldn't be that good, or he shouldn't be paid that much.
Do you still think there's an opportunity for him to succeed at Liverpool, or do you think he's been written off by Klopp as well?
I think he's been written off by Klopp. I think you saw that. You saw that when Origi stepped above him and the substitutions. It was around about the semi-final, the quarter-final against Dortmund, the semi-final, and in the league games around about then. You saw he was turning to other options off the bench ahead of him. That shows.
Okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate because I agree with everything you've said. Yeah. I am playing devil's advocate. For those of you at home, that means I'm arguing a side I don't believe in because you don't seem to get it a lot. Because the comments just come in, oh, you're an idiot. I was like, no, I'm playing devil's advocate. Right. Liverpool are arguing over this £32.5 million. We've rejected a £25 million bid. We've rejected a £27 million bid. Could you possibly look at that from the outside and go, Liverpool don't want to sell him for less than 32? And you know what? That's sometimes what you do when you don't want to sell players.
You could look at it that way. Again, playing devil's advocate, I don't agree. I think we don't want to lose. I think, you look at it pure business terms. He still scored goals in the Premier League. His actual goal return wasn't that bad for the amount of minutes and the amount of football he got at a harder club to score goals for, which sounds ridiculous, but he's got more competition. Aston Villa played every week and he was set up for him to score goals. Liverpool weren't, and he still got, was it 9 Premiership goals, 10 Premiership goals?
I remember 9. I don't know if that was Premiership. I think he got 11 in total.
He got 11
I think
in total.
It's 9 in Prem.
9 in the Prem. So he's a proven Premiership goal scorer. It sounds ridiculous, and I'll take shit for this, but there's potential that we're selling him to a rival if we sell him to West Ham and Palace, based on where we finished last year and where they finished and the money that they're spending and the players they're recruiting. So you don't want to give that asset up lightly. Yeah. I think we're not going to have our pants pulled down when it's not Balotelli. We're not desperate to get him away from the club. I think he's a hard-working professional. He just doesn't suit our system, but I don't think he's toxic.
Gut feeling, will he go this summer?
He will go this summer.
And for the right money?
He will go for 30.
30 million. Okay, nice. One confirmed deal from yesterday, Sergio Canos has now completed his move to Norwich.
Yeah. Shock.
No, well, the two clubs both bid 2.5 million, didn't they? So the final deal is supposed to be 2.5 million plus 2 million in add-ons if it's linked into whatever the fuck it's linked into. There is a buyback clause, there is a sell-on clause. We've got 1 minute to go, so I'm just going to quickly move on to Lloris Karius being boss, because Lloris Karius is sacked off going to the Olympics. He spoke with Jurgen Klopp. He then decided to go to the Germany team and tell them that he didn't want to be involved in the Olympics because he wants to stay and fight for the first team place at Anfield. He wouldn't have moved to Anfield if he didn't think that he could win the fight with the goalkeeper, Simon Mignolet, for the number 1 spot. So we're going to do that. Finally, we've got not very long, so we're going to do it dead quickly, Aubrey. Lucas Digne, Barcelona's latest acquisition, has signed for them. We apparently made a late bid on Wednesday to see if we could secure Digne's signing before Barcelona. That means Liverpool are in the market for a new left-back. Am I right?
It means that.
Is that good?
It's very good.
Yes! Is that 10 minutes?
No, we've got...
Talk about it for me.
We need a left-back.
Yeah.
Even if it's just going to challenge Moreno.
Yeah.
And it needs to be a good left-back. And Digne would have been good if he's getting bought by Barcelona.
The encouraging thing is that we are looking for a left-back.
Yeah, that's it.
There you go. That's the news in 10 minutes. I'm so sorry. I wanted your opinion on the left-back thing. But we just ran out of time. And, you know, I'm conscious that I'm actually going over the time limit now. If you've enjoyed the show, give it a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe to the Redmen TV and check out on the channel later on for the Uncensored match build-up show for the game on Sunday. Thank you very much for watching. From me, from Aubrey and from Tom.